Hey there, Tim Bauer here from LiveVideoGuitarLessons.com with the practice tip of the day. This was for the intermediate player. Today I want to cover A-form bar chords, A-form major bar chords. The E-form, I shot a video a couple days ago on E-form. That's over on the website, www.livevideoguitarlessons.com. I wanted to cover the A-form today. Alright, so the root note for our A-form bar chord is on the A string. And let's just pick a chord and we'll just jump right in. Alright, so let's pick E flat. That's up here in the 6th fret. And the number one thing with A-form bar chords that you want to avoid, people often, because you can reach across, if you're an adult or a fairly tall child, you can reach across all 5 strings with just 2 knuckles, and you don't want to do that. That'll totally mess up what you're trying to do out here. Make sure your fingers stay straight and place it across strings 5 through 1, and make sure you don't do that. That's so important. I know I'm emphasizing that. Don't do that. Do that. Make sure your hand's hanging down here below that. Make sure the whole finger is straight. Okay, so what we're doing, we're taking our basically taking our A chord from down here and moving it up the neck. Obviously, well, sometimes people try to do that, and that's really not the best way to do it. Although that will work, but you don't want to do that. You want to, instead of playing your A chord this way or that way, a lot of times, most times people will play their A chord with 1 finger. It depends on what you want to do with it, but that's what we're going to do with this bar chord. But instead of the 1st finger, we're going to play with a 3rd finger. So we're barring across strings 4, 3, and 2. And we're going to move it up here, and we're using this finger so we can use this 1st finger as a bar. So I'm going to take that up here, and the proper way to do this, and I'm going to show you a cheat in a minute, which is done most of the time. The proper way, in your A chord, the A string and the E string are open. So technically, when you do an A-form bar chord, you're covering 4, 3, and 2 with your 3rd finger, and you have to bar across 5. All of them, but you need 5 and 1 with your 1st finger. So technically, and the way you always see it written is with a full bar across these 5 strings, and that way you get that note and that note around the chord. You almost never need that. It's too big and it's a little cumbersome to get to. So even that's the way you're always going to see it written. The cheat is that you don't really need the whole bar back here. You really only need almost always. You need 4, 3, and 2 here. You need those to be correct, and you really only need the 5th string here. So when you see people play this chord, you'll notice their fingers bent most of the time. And they're not really doing the bar like that. They're doing that. And like I said, you always see it written with the full bar, but just take that to mean that. And what you do, you mute the 1st string most of the time. Almost always. Especially in rock music. You know, you're playing on the bassy strings all the time. Yeah. And if you do that with a full bar, in addition to it being difficult to play, it doesn't sound good most of the time. Occasionally you'll need it, and when you need it, then, you know, work on getting the whole thing in there. So anyway, put this part, to form it, put this part in first, and get all 3 of those ringing correctly. And then just reach over with your 1st finger and catch that 5th string over here. And check each string to make sure you're doing it right. And if you lose, like say you're losing your 2nd string, it means if you kind of picture a 360-degree circle around the neck of your guitar, if you're losing your 2nd string like that, it means you're about 2 degrees. Usually you're about 2 degrees off. You need to roll around about 2 degrees back that way. If you're losing the 4th string, you know, it's hard to lose that one, but it means you're about 2 degrees off this way. The changes to put the chord in the proper place are tiny. So anyway, hopefully that helps. Oh, real quick, this is okay with the 1st string back here. It's okay to mute it by letting this finger touch it, but it's not okay to have your 3rd finger playing the note up here, because that makes it, instead of E flat, which you get in these two cases, and this, muted. Instead of E flat, you get E flat 6 if you play this across all 4 here. So you can't do that most of the time because it softens the chord too much. Anyway, hopefully that helps. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow for another practice tip, and I will see you then. Thanks. Bye.